What? Okay, if you can hear me, post an emote. Post. If you can hear me, go for dance, please. Because I don't know what's going on. Oh, see? Now I'm posting codes in chat. It did crash. Freaking heck. Yeah, that's what I want it to be. I want it to be Pedro GPT. Okay, good. That took too much work. Oh, only the capitalization of it? Okay, well, we can do that. Freaking heck. That was the worst! The frames per second are having. I'm not even playing a game! And it's having rendering lag issues. What am I running on this computer that it... Who's gonna fix my OBS setup for me? Right? My goodness. Okay, guys, how are you? Can somebody, send a message to Pedro and see if that username updated? I bided my time for 2 months for that. No, the stream should be up. I mean, it definitely is having issues. But I think we're back. Pedro is with you! Yes! And it's got the name I am Pedro GPT. That's perfect. Perfect. Okay. So let's jump into what I wanted to do today. Let's jump into what I wanted to do today. Today, I just wanted to take some time and... I'm sorry you had to refresh Twitch. I wanted to take some time and talk about GopherCon. I went. I enjoyed it. But I definitely noticed some trends and biases. They're good, bad, whatever. I noticed them. I want to change. Man, you guys, you people hiding outside my window. What are we gonna do with you? I'm just changing my chat real quick. I think this is how we change the chat. I don't know how to change the chat. Hey! How are you doing, Button? 4 people on shoulders to reach the second floor? Pretty much. I don't know how to change the chat settings, so maybe I can't change the chat settings. I'm not storing anything in video. I'm not doing live shop. I'm not editing the destinations. I just wanted to freaking... Don't you guys have chat somewhere? Yeah, whatever. This thing's being garbage. I won't change chat then, and it'll just look horrible. So, GopherCon. Let's go through it. I'm just gonna go through the calendar, because that's like the only way I can trigger anything. In my memory. So, we're gonna start with that. Women Who Go meetup. I missed this because my flight was delayed, so I didn't get there until about 8 p.m. So I just went and got dinner. So my day really started here at the Continental Breakfast. It was fine. It was actually really good. They had overnight oats, so probably the highlight of food provided by the conference was the Continental Breakfast. So, I'm not invited to that. There were a ton of workshops. I did not do any of them because, you know. Don't get distracted by Pedro. Intro to Go for experienced programmers. I didn't go to that because I am writing a course similar to that. I should have gone. I should have audited it just to make mine better. Intro to debugging. I don't use Delve because I'm obstinate. Intro to generative AI with Go. That's what we've been doing for the past 6 months, right? Pedro, I'm interested to tell you because it's Mistral 7B, but that's not what it's going to tell you. Just vanilla Mistral. Profiling and optimizing Go programs. Mariah has a course on that, so, you know, whatever. Challenge series. I didn't have a computer the first day because I was carrying around a backpack of t-shirts. Pedro's just based on Pedro. How to budget. Ooh, I just tried to shake my drink with the lid open. That's how Mariah's day is going. That just didn't seem interesting to me. But it was good. Bill Kennedy, Ultimate Software Design. I wasn't there for that. Building a decentralized app in No Land. No Land is crypto. So this is basically how to do crypto. I mean, yeah, blockchain. Tiny Hardware from Patricio and Ron Evans. Patricio, his name is Soy Pat on GitHub. Mine is Soy Pete. So Patricio es un buen amigo. He's from Argentina, Buenos Aires. Gave a great talk. People are like, Mariah, you should go. They were giving away badges. So I would say, like, if you want to know what the highlight for most people of GopherCon was, it was this hack day. Because you could go and get a digital badge with a Raspberry Pi on it, Pico, and put your name and stuff, and pictures. It ran on TinyGo, like, it was fantastic. Everybody loved this. Like, we want to do this at Go West, but Go West doesn't have any money. So if you know of any company that should sponsor Go West, and they give us money, we will do this. We will have a hack day, straight up. I just need, I need money. And right now I don't have any. So if you know anyone that'll give us money, we'll do that. Community roundtables, didn't do that. I did go to the community day to meet the Go team, even though I met most of the Go team beforehand, because whatever. So that was pretty much the first day. It was fine. I didn't do Protobuf and gRPC, because I already know everything. You know me. I went to the meetup organizer one. That was fun. Hung out with Paul. Paul's a good friend of mine. And we just talked about different meetups. Most of the people there were not meetup organizers. They just went for the food and alcohol. Most of the people that went to these meetup events just straight up went for food and alcohol. I'll just put it that way. So this was fun. I stayed later on this one because I actually am a meetup organizer. And half of the people had to peace out because they had to go to the speaker dinner. I heard Neurospicy was good. I went to Rain Go, but by the end of Rain Go, after 3 different bars, as somebody who doesn't drink, I felt very out of place, so I left. So that was GopherCon's pre-day. Let's go to day 1. So this is where you'll find lots of hot takes. Lots of hot takes here. Welcome, Gophers. It's fine. This keynote, if you've ever heard Ron Evans speak, everything he does is some kind of robotics or embedded software demo. So he basically recreated Doug stream from 2 weeks ago. Doug did a stream 2 weeks ago where he had 3 AI agents talking to each other. And he was trying to get them to talk about games. Ron Evans did the same thing. He had 3 AI agents talking to each other, but instead of making icons on OBS move, he literally had robotic heads that he was trying to make move when the LLMs were chatting. He could not get the GPU to trigger over the Wi-Fi, so he had to run it locally. He got it to connect, and then the model couldn't handle the 3 conversation agents. So unfortunately that demo failed, but it felt pretty familiar. How often are we sitting here trying to fiddle with Pedro and it just doesn't work? Like, I definitely felt for him because it feels like interacting with Pedro, where Pedro just repeats its name or repeats verbatim what you tell Pedro to do, right? Like, Pedro's just a dumb idiot, and that's exactly what you learned about from his LLM example. It's just a dumb idiot. He was trying to do something with TinyGo and some kind of orchestration thing. Like, I'm sure it was cool when he tested it at home and everything was like hardwired. Next talk. That was the one thing. So GopherCon previously, every GopherCon I have gone to up to this point has been a multi-track event. And they slimmed down to single track. I am a fan of single track. I think it's just easier. You get more people attending talks because they just don't leave. But it was very, very, it was just good. Donia is a former Go West speaker, believe it or not. Donia's talk was great. She used bubble tea and charm, mostly bubble tea and a little bit of lip gloss, to build a CLI app for habit tracking. And she straight up built it as a live demo, which was pretty impressive. And I think Bash Bunny would have been proud. I walked out of there and most people were like, I didn't know about charm, and I didn't know about bubble tea, and I'm confused because I thought everybody watched Twitch and knew about charm and bubble tea, right? Like, isn't that what? So people didn't. CLI apps are coming back. We're gonna bring them back, right? I've never used charm or bubble tea, because most of the stuff I build on Twitch, I like to build as raw as possible, because it forces me to learn a lot of rough edge type things. And so, like, that's why I've never touched it before, but it was great. Great talk. The demos worked flawlessly. And hopefully more people want to use the CLI. This one was interesting. This was about adding compiler instructions. And so literally he was adding a new instruction to the compiler called a for loop, and that was something that looped exactly 4 times. It was interesting, and I will never put instruction into the compiler. I'm sure that my friend Ryan Berger would have loved it. He would have been all over that. Morning break, still no food. So, here Axel Wagner talked about generics. It was really good. I did not take anything away from it that I can remember. But I remember it was a really good talk. It was a really good story. He was a really good speaker. But that room was so dark and cold, I fell asleep through most talks. So not anything to fault the speaker. His talk was really good. So there was, great. Building a deterministic interpreter in Go. Button, I don't have a good use case for generics either. I don't. Axel explained them pretty well. Like, he gave some good use cases too, but yeah, I don't have any for that. Building a deterministic interpreter in Go, readability versus performance. This had nothing to do with readability and performance. Ad break ends in 1:30. Button. Subscribe. So, what was this one? All he talked about here, all this talk was basically how to make a flavor of Go for blockchain. It was straight up said, "Oh, my community is back." Button, I agree, I don't have a good use case for Go. And I think there were definitely some overarching themes from GopherCon that I got from people talking just from hallway track stuff. I talked to a lot of people. A lot of people. And one of the things is one of the themes, and we'll come back to this later, was Go is a language that's really easy to learn, but hard to master. And I sat there, and my response to them was, what does it mean to master Go? Because if mastering Go is having being able to use generics, then I will never master Go, because I have no use case for generics. If using Go is oh, I can debug the compiler and build my own, then I will never be that use case. I don't know what mastering Go means in that. And so, yeah. But my goal is not to be a member of the Go team at Google, right? My goal is to build high-quality software in Go, and you can do that without knowing some of these weird offshoot things, like how to build a blockchain-focused interpreter, which is what this talk was about. It was how to do Go for blockchain. Lunch, meh. We had lightning talks. Does it? If I click on this, it'll tell you about the lightning talks? We had lightning talks. Can ChatGPT do my job? The answer was no. Code coverage with tool exec. Can blockchain die already? No. The whole company, GNO, is an interpreted Go, and no land. They're all about blockchain, apparently, so it hasn't died. Implementing code coverage with tool exec was summarized as the test coverage tool shipped with Go is better. Parquet Go and unreasonable amounts of SIMD was use Parquet Go. That was it. Just like you can use the Parquet Go package to parse Parquet files. Great. Standardizing errors, a practical guide with Dapper was... Yes! yes, button. The whole point of this tool exec talk was use the built-in one. Use the built-in test coverage tool. If you build one yourself, it won't be as good. This one was basically saying, no tool gives you good errors. No API gives you good errors. And at least with Dapper, they're trying to give you errors that you can actually debug with. Yeah, that was part of the talk too, was that Rust is the most popular language for blockchain. Chan, a generic tale, was talking about how you can have a channel of channels. That was it. Miles to go, Golang for competitive programming was told you that if you wanted to use Go for competitive programming, which was like, like the stuff you do in college, you'll write bad software. So you can use it, but you'll write bad software. So basically, competitive programmers make bad software engineers. That's what I took from that talk. 7 features of the... No, I was in the middle of that. 7 features of Go Playground literally did a bunch of different examples of Go Playground. You can run tests in Go Playground. You can... just showing all the different things you can do in Go Playground, and showing also a couple of open source third-party Go Playgrounds you can run. So, but I don't know when the last time I used Go Playground was. Yes, button. Rust makes sense for blockchain. But, why? But they made no land a whole thing so that you can use Go. Oh, that's cool. Maybe I need to be better about showing off stuff in Go Playground. This one, saving African savanna wildlife with Go MQQT. This was cool. This guy works in Kenya for the Department of Wildlife Preservation. Like, he literally works tracking animals. That's his whole job. And he talked about using the MQQT protocol in order to do it, and how Go's a good fit. That was pretty cool. It was a lot of pictures of elephants and rhinoceri. I'm building a firewall in Go. Oh. Was this the founder of ngrok? I'm pretty sure this guy was the founder of ngrok. And what I took from this talk was I didn't know that ngrok was written in Go, and that he founded it around the same time as the first GopherCon. I don't know how to write a firewall in Go. No clue. This break with assorted sodas and bubbly sparkling drinks is when I gave out the last of my t-shirts and told people about streaming on Twitch and how I am a fabulous Twitch streamer. They had no clue. And they asked me, again, how do you learn Go if you're new to Go, if you've never used Go before? And I told them, come watch my Twitch stream, because I'm fantastic. This guy from Uber, optimizing efficiency improvement with profile-guided optimizations. I went to that talk. I went to the end of that talk. Rhinocerai is a valid plural. I went to this talk. I missed part of it. It was 45 minutes. Nope. I didn't go to that talk. I missed this talk. Because I had to go... I got rid of all my t-shirts, so I had to go get rid of the backpack that was carrying the t-shirts. And also, my back was killing me because apparently I'm old now. You know, I'm 30. So now that I'm old, my back hurt. So take good shoes. So I don't know how to do profile guided optimizations, but I honestly don't think I missed anything. Because these would be great if people actually cared about memory management, but I'm pretty sure the only thing people build are web services. And if you're running web services in Docker containers in Kubernetes or Cloud Run, you just scale them up with Kubernetes and you don't care. So yeah, unfortunately I missed that one. This one was okay. What I took away from this one is that you can generate GraphQL. Yeah. At her company, which does some protocol for NFTs, they use gRPC for backend to backend and then GraphQL for backend to frontend, which we tried to do at Nav, actually. But all I took away from this one is that you can generate your GraphQL protocol with Gen GraphQL, and that makes it easier because then you can just build it off of your proto and keep it there. I still hate GraphQL because of the meetup.com public GraphQL API. It's horrible. I also found out that there is a GraphQL tool written by... Where did that guy go? This guy. Yeah, I'm never gonna find him again. I want to copy his name. He wrote a GraphQL tool. I talked to him about it. And all it does, like the whole thing it's supposed to do, just... Yes, I want to copy his name. You let me copy his name? All his GraphQL tool does is let you abstract away and hard code the queries. There it is. Where's your... You only have one? Okay, well, apparently his GraphQL tool doesn't exist on here. I don't know where his GraphQL tool is. But I talked to him about it. Maybe I'll have to pull it in from Wilkin somewhere. Because, yeah, when I do GraphQL, that's straight up what I do. I just hard code the queries, right? Because GraphQL is the worst. Also, I'm not convinced GraphQL is necessary because I just had to do before with the meetup stuff. With the meetup stuff, I had to do regular OAuth that you would do with the RESTful system, and then make the GraphQL call after the fact, putting in a header token. So if all I'm doing is sending the query over raw text, it doesn't make any sense to me. But, you know, GraphQL is still, for some reason, all the rage, and I have no use case for it. A decade of debugging. This guy literally walked through a 10-year timeline of every feature he shipped with Delve. But I've also found out that my opinions, generally speaking, coincide with Forge Slack. So either Forge Slack defines my opinions, or my opinions define Forge Slack. Collective consciousness. I am Forge Slack. Yeah, this is the guy. he apparently went to the first GopherCon, learned there wasn't a debugger, and so he wrote Delve. Yes. And the whole talk was features we shipped every year with Delve. That was it. And how you can use it now. Now, you can use Delve in Vim, but I have no need for it. And, like, I guess if I was building a compiler or maybe some networking stuff or, like, some what I would call non-standard Go use cases, but the Go team would call standard Go use cases because the Go team doesn't know that 90% of Go engineers are just building web services. They should do a better job of knowing their community. So he's like, it is used by VS Code and by Golang by default, yes. So yeah, it has huge adoption. If anybody's using the Go debugger to step through their code, it had some cool tools. Like, I would definitely say, if you need a debugger, it's a good debugger. But if you're building APIs, a print line's way more efficient. But he doesn't want anybody to use print lines, so... But yeah, it was just straight up. I could have just read the GitHub git log, changelog, and got his talk. I didn't go to the Asian Alliance happy hour. I didn't go to the United Go happy hour. I was gonna go to the Rooftop happy hour, but I left about an hour late, and they said, we're full, you can't come in, so I didn't go to that. And then I heard that after the United Go meetup, a bunch of people went to karaoke and stayed out till 4 a.m., and that's also not my style. So the final day. Who tests your tests? This was an interesting one. A little bit, it was kind of, to me, seemed like a talk about code generation. And, like, most of it was just semantic parsing. Just saying, if tests are written, do they follow this model, and how can you parse tests to make sure they follow that model? So that was interesting. Interface internals. This is about not like the interface type that has methods on it. This was about the interface that now is any. It's about like generics the old-fashioned way. I was surprised. I thought we were going to be talking about inheritance. We were going to be talking about extending interface types, implementing interfaces, forcing types to inherit, interfaces. No, it was just about the interface, the empty interface, which is any. That's what this was about, the interface. Building a high-performance concurrent Go map. This was how to do binary trees in Go. That's what this was. And hash map lookups. So, this was essentially leet code for Go. We came up to the cryptography State of the Union. This is the second year in a row we've had a cryptography. I'm glad you haven't had to think about leet code since school button. I really am. Cryptography State of the Union. My opinion is, why are we doing cryptography State of the Union the second year in a row? Yes, this is cryptography. This is like the security stuff. This one is actually pretty good on the informative level. Like, my initial opinion is, why are we doing this 2 years in a row? But unfortunately, he's a really good speaker and delivered. But this could and should have been a blog post. Like I said, I firmly believe 90% of the people programming in Go are writing web services. And they are letting their encryption and their security and all that stuff be handled by somebody else. Nobody, like, they have a security team, they have a platform, they're on Google Cloud, they're using Kubernetes, like, they have firewalls, and they're just letting that do everything for them, and they don't even try. Like, to be fair, at most companies, they're like, here, pull this key down from KMS or whatever Amazon's key management system is and use that. And so I'm not even using Go cryptography stuff. I used it a couple weeks ago, and so that's kind of why I found it interesting. But I just don't think people are implementing this themselves. Advanced instrumentation techniques for high-performance trading systems. This was a lady who was talking about the trade-off between CPU and memory. And I wish there had been more pprof. Nobody pulled up pprof and said, this is how you do it. And I am still bitter that they didn't accept my talk, because I would have straight up said, this is pprof. This is how you do it. Because everybody I talk to is like, I don't know how to use pprof. What does this website mean? And we missed that. This digital audio from scratch. This guy straight up just made a synthesizer in Go. That's what this one was. And their AV system was not ready to handle his synthesizer. Interesting talk. I think a lot of people who I went to school with, physicists. That's what I'm saying, Button. Everybody kind of knows how to use it, but not really. And my talk about how to use it would have been perfect, and they would never have accepted it because we have a bias at GopherCon. And the bias of GopherCon is we are looking for advanced Go talks. There's no entry-level Go talks. It is all advanced Go talks for mastering Go. And like I said, who is mastering Go? Who's using Go at that level? Tailscale? Well, they fork Go and use their own version of Go. So of course they are. You know, like, there needs to be for sure. But they, at the first day of the conference, they said, who has been programming Go for less than a year? And half of the conference raised their hands. If 50% of attendees are 1 year and less, then 50% of the talks needs to be geared for them. Not saying you've never programmed before, but saying here's some, you're new to Go, here's new to Go stuff. Oh, sorry, this was the ngrok founder. This was the ngrok founder who gave us, we're skipping these lightning talks. We'll come back to them in a minute. I was mistaken. The other ngrok talk about firewalls, I was clearly so unrememberable. I confused it with this one, which was literally a 10-year changelog of what features ngrok shipped. So, yeah. I don't mind GopherCon, so, yeah. Blog post, guys, that's not I don't... Should I come and give a talk about running a conference for 5 years and everything, like... I'm, like, you're good speakers, you tell a good story, but... If the talk is meant to be technical, which if you look at the CFP, they say they want technical talks, then we should be taking something we can implement, and that showing me what you did for 10 years is not that. Sorry. They are all that. Every conference talk is an excuse to go to a conference so that somebody else will pay for it. That was my conference talk. I submit conference talks for free tickets. And I know I'm a good speaker. Like, we all do it. Mock fellow gophers. This was about having mock libraries. And I haven't had a mock library since my first job, because that is the most OOP way of writing Go I've ever seen. I am happy with mocks. I mock databases all the time. I just don't... he worked at CrowdStrike, so they're doing things far beyond just web services, but I'm sure most of the things they're doing are web services, you know. I don't know. Lightning fast database tests. This guy was talking about running database in CI/CD. And yeah, I didn't take anything away from it. Matthew Sanaria, good friend of mine. I think this was the first place we've met in person. Hi, Luna. Come get mama. His talk was pictures of his house that he remodeled and talking about how anyone can learn. If he can learn to build a house, anybody can learn to write Go. Great talk. You can store that in a container registry. Apparently, ORES is an OCI registry, which I don't know what an OCI registry is. But basically, he compiled an app and pushed it up to a container registry. Wilkins talk, he works for HashiCorp, so he talked about some supply chain issues they had at HashiCorp, which was fine. But, it was a nice story. It was a good lightning talk. Nothing I could take away from. This guy talked about writing a GUI in Go, and he showed us a picture on a handwritten map, but he clearly... Oh, Open Container Initiative. Okay, thank you, button. I didn't know what that meant. Clearly he hasn't heard of Fine. Because that's like the thing. Millions of events processed using generics. This was the first time I've heard of the Kawa event package in Go. Didn't know that was a thing. I knew, he said he worked at Twilio. I know at Twilio Segment, and their whole thing is event processing. But I had no idea that Kawa was actually the legitimate name of an event processing package. No clue. That's news to me. And so it was kind of interesting. But essentially, this generic for type-safe serialization, it was just like, oh, if you've got bytes and strings, you might be able to use uint for the underlying, you know, just stuff like that. But not anything like... I'm sorry, with data processing, which is what generics are built for, I still don't think you can actually do it, because data just grows. But segments data is probably pretty good. Building a self-regulating pressure relief system. I slept through that talk because I'm old and my back hurt. But we talked about this on Forge Slack for literally 2 days. I posted a thing on Buff's Forge Slack about the Buff streaming service, the Buff IO Kafka replacement. And man, they're still ranting on that. And then I went to Patrick's talk about Go on a Pi. And I talked to him after, and he said, I've never seen so many people clap for an LED flashing. And that's pretty much what it was. He said, this is TinyGo. Watch me compile it. I'm going to flash it onto a Raspberry Pi Pico, and I'm going to, like, make this light flash. And he did, and it was really cool, and people clapped. This was the closing one. Range over function types. And as with all people who come from Google, that talk was so vetted he could only say what was written for him. Because that's how it works. That's how Google lives. I will never, I don't know how to, it was basically, I guess, about the computer science topic of iterators, and he showed you how to implement iterators, but I don't know what computer science iterators are as a physicist, and I still don't get range over function. Like, somebody's gonna have to take that and say, Mariah, this is how you use it, because I still don't get it. Then there was the closing party at Punch Bowl Social, and I talked to this guy, and we said, this guy who won a Steam Deck in their raffle, and he asked me the question about mastering Go, because I am a Go instructor, and I said, my answer to him was, and this is, like, the takeaway, so, what does it mean to master Go? And I said, what does it, like, so we'll start over. He said, and again, multiple people told me this during the conference, so I don't know who is publishing this on the internet. But he said, Go is easy to learn but hard to master. And I said, well, my response to that is, what does it mean to master Go? Mariah's definition of mastering Go is, if something breaks in production and you can fix it within your SLA, you have mastered Go. Because you have a language, you're using it for your production use case, and you are using it well. Like, you're maintaining that software according to the standards you've set up. You know how to use it, you know how to debug it, you know how to fix it. That is mastery. Tell me how that's not mastery as a software engineer. That is mastering your craft using Go. So for Mariah, mastering Go is being able to maintain a production code to the SLAs. And he said, oh, well, that makes sense. I agree with that. Nathan Button, it's on general. Yeah, you've been using Till for 10 years. You wouldn't say that you've mastered it, but you also don't care to. You don't need a generics and all that. Yeah, but I would say you have. Like, would you say that you are an expert at using Go for your craft, right? Like, you can use Go for every use case that you need to use Go for. And if that's the case, then how is that not mastery? The word master, and this is, again, everybody's been telling this. The word master comes from the Latin word that means teacher, right? Right? Let's go to etymology lesson. I know, what is the etymology master? Come on. See, look. Master. From Latin, chef, teacher, leader. Right? The word master in Spanish is maestro, which is teacher. So, right? So if master is straight up a teacher, then what it means to master Go is to be able to share what you've learned about Go with somebody else. That doesn't mean you have to be Russ Cox. Nobody else is going to be Russ Cox or Ian Lance Taylor. Like, that's not what we're going to be. We're going to be a person who's going to be able to share Go with the people around us and instruct people. Like, that is what it means to master Go. So if you can share Go and help people be better at Go, provide useful feedback, work with other people to optimize your code and make the best code, you've mastered Go. What else is there? Like, it's just, I'm tired of this, and it's probably my bias against Google engineers coming out here. Like, you've done it. You're master. If you can use it for your use case, you're a master of Go. I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, that was GopherCon. There was an after party. They had horrible time management. It took them 30 minutes to hand out prizes for this. What was it? This challenge series? I don't even know what they were doing, but people had to like solve puzzles or whatever. It took them 30 minutes to hand out the prizes for that because they were giving out participation trophies. They should have had a separate event for handing out those things, because by the end of handing out all of those participation trophies, we had 15 minutes left to hand out all of the raffle attempts. And by the time the Go raffle, and everybody was going to wait till the end of the raffle. They were raffling off a 10-year GopherCon ticket pass with flight. Everybody was going to wait to the end of the raffle because no matter how slim your chances are, you had a chance to get GopherCon for 10 years. So by the end of that, it was 5 minutes to 10, and the shuttle service stopped at 10 o'clock. And it took an hour round trip to get for those buses to get from Punchbowl Social over to... No, it was not... They should have had a LEET code for that, but no. They were using the peel away party favor ones. And 70% of the ones they picked were pink and had the same number order, which means they were all from the same table. So I'm sorry, it was rigged to favor pink. It was not blind. It was very much not random. They should have had a LEET code do it. I mean, come on. We're a software conference. We can build our own software raffle. Go West has a computerized raffle system, and we don't have... There's only 4 of us. We don't even have a budget. We're the cheapest conference around. We have no money. Yes. Sorry. So I took the train back. A bunch of us were like, we're not waiting an hour for this stupid bus. So we got on the L, and I was like, I'm not riding it by myself, but I'll go with a bunch of you guys. And so we took the train back, and I got back before everybody that was waiting for those dumb buses. So that was GopherCon. If I were to rate it on a scale of 0 to Go West, I'd say it was about a 7. Like, it was a 7. The talks were meh. The talks were good. The speakers were fantastic. But the talks to me were definitely 100% biased. So I learned when they have a first round of talk picks that are anonymous, and then a second round of talk picks that are non-anonymous. And I promise you, they're going to tend towards people they know. You can't not do that at any point. So whoever's in the planning committee is going to kind of go to that. And then there's also going to be the, hey, I want to learn this. This is not something I know. There's going to be that selfish instinct. We do that with Go West. We're always going to say, hey, this talk is more interesting to me. And then we have to step back and say, okay, but what about the people attending our conference? Is it also interesting to the people attending the conference? And I just wish there was a little bit more actual stuff that people use. Like, people are using web services. People want to know how to containerize and deploy their apps. People want to know how to scale their apps from 0 to 5,000. And there was a lot of performance, and a lot of, the security stuff people don't go. That's why people really liked this GraphQL talk, because they're like, oh, that comes up. Like, I use gRPC, and I use REST. Maybe GraphQL's an option. Like, that's why they liked this one. Because it felt hands-on. You know, This one, people liked it because everybody wants to play with the Charm CLI. It felt like something they could take home and apply. Like, that's what we were missing. Nobody felt like they could take home and apply Ron Evans' talking robot. But they totally felt like they could take home and apply a flashing LED, right? Like, that's exactly what we were doing. So, like, real code, real world, that's a lot of that is what I felt was missing. And hopefully we do a better job of that at GoWest. We don't have as many talks to choose from. It's not as hard of a job. Like, I don't say I want to choose the talks for them. I'm just giving my unbiased opinion. But yeah, I wish, like, and this could just be I've been doing it for too long, right? I remember when I first went to GopherCon, I just felt like I could take everything home and apply it, but I was so new, and now I'm just like, oh. It's either stuff that I will never use, like I will never jump into the compiler, or stuff I already know. You know, it's just, so I go to GopherCon for my people, you know, to go find friends, and I have a lot of friends that I only see at GopherCon, and it's a blast. If you missed GopherCon, if you didn't get a chance to GopherCon, Go West tickets are on sale. I will get this weekend, before I edit this video and post it to YouTube, I will get the session panel updated, because we're going to have a community session. This is hands down one of the favorite parts of Go West, and I will get the schedule updated. We have all of the speakers have confirmed. We are ready to go. We are still accepting sponsors, so if your company wants to sponsor, all you have to do is click this button right there, and that's all it takes to sponsor our conference. It's not hard. And there's an email in there. You just email us. It's just right there. Right there. Email right there. I want to sponsor your conference. And we'll be like, yay! 1,000. Name one company that doesn't have an extra $1,000 in their marketing or recruiting budget. Name one. So yeah, that's it. Get your Go West conference tickets. Believe it or not, we only have 97 left. Like, we run out. We will run out. So, hopefully that was spicy. That was just a big old version of Mariah Spice, because we should have a, you know how a Spice Girls meme, and just call it Pete Spice. Because I feel like I've got some hot takes somewhere. And we just need more Pete Spice, right? Just a little bit more. And if we can just get a little bit more Pete Spice, we'll just be killing it. I need to check. Sorry, I need a minute. What the F are you talking about? I haven't worked for a week and I'm getting emails from work and I shouldn't be looking at them. Yeah, turn off eco and turn the temperature low, 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 right? Perfect. Yeah, so go to Go West, pretty much. That's all I can say. The other thing too, okay, so I have one more hot take. One more hot take for you. Not about GopherCon. And that is I think Go as like I don't know what Go is. I don't know if Go is the I don't know what Go is. Like, you know what Rust is? Rust is the Rust Foundation. I don't know what Go is. So, just take that for what it is. But Go is 100% missing out on community by not hitting Twitch streams, by not having DevRel. It's not on YouTube videos. People watch my streams because there are no YouTube videos on how to learn Go. Like, there is so much content that Go is missing. Rust has it. Zig has it. Go doesn't. Twitch streamers are not bragging about Go. You've just got Milky. You know, like, people know about Go. I mean, people know about Rust. The freaking White House knows about Rust. That means that somebody sponsoring the Rust Foundation or the Rust Foundation itself has lobbyists, political lobbyists, talking to senators about programming languages. These are people who can't use their own phones. We've watched them on C-SPAN. They can't use cell phones. But they're putting Rust in official press releases by the White House? In the ML space, they know about Rust. They know about... But Go programmers don't know about Zig. Like... How are we so self-isolating as a Go community that we don't know what's out there and what people are doing? Go for AI doesn't exist. There was not a single AI talk besides the generative AI workshop. And there should have been. There's an entire AI track at KubeCon. A conference that has no business having an AI track. No business having an AI track. Yet we're still on blockchain? Like, you wonder why the Go community hasn't come back. You wonder why the conference that had 1,600 people is now down to 8. It's because we're living in a fantasy land and we don't know where people are at. Go watch Prime's video. He wants to use Go, he just does it. The raggy. The AI community has their own Kubernetes. That's not called Kubernetes. Like, what was it? Oh, I don't even know what it was. But I was talking to Matt Sharp about it in the MLOps space. And they've just freaking made their own AI Kubernetes because, you know, that's great. That they also have hundreds of engineers. It's the people that take AI and implement it that have no clue. Like, you know, it's the people that can't ship their AI code to production. that are paying for AI branded Kubernetes. You know, it's when I went to, like, I still can't believe at Data Council. I went to Data Council, and all of these VC people, because it was a VC conference, were talking about Rust. And it's because Python people are spending so much time building tools in Rust. That's what they do. They're like, oh, Python is slow. Well, let's just build our tools in Rust. And that's fine. I don't think it's bad. But somebody is paying money somewhere to get this in front of people, right? I really struggle with this idea of the future is open source because I feel like everybody's kind of stepping back in open source, so... Well, Go doesn't need to do well. I mean, it's a horrible language for building AI. I'm not saying we should be training Go. I'm not saying we should be training models in Go. We shouldn't. But everything's an API now, right? OpenAI API, Mistral has an API, Ollama, LangChain Go has an Ollama interface. So, like, if everything has an interface, Go can interact with any interface. That's not... Like, it should be more heavily used on the inferencing side anyway. It's just... I don't know. It just seems like... Like I said, my takeaway from GopherCon is that we were looking... We had nobody talking about what people were actually doing with Go. And so if we don't know what we're doing, how are we going to know where we can grow? So. Because everybody I talked to, I talked to so many people where it was their first GopherCon, or they were new to Go, or they were trying to learn Go. And they just... Yeah, I just didn't know how this conference was fitting in for them. But, you know, hey. I enjoyed myself. I had fun. Hung out with good friends. Made some new ones. Talked about meetups. A lot. I talked about meetups a lot. That's all I do is talk about meetups. And speaking of that, we're going to transition into... Also, everybody uses Ollama, and nobody's using Llama C++. It seemed to me like Llama C++ has way more open source options. As somebody who's completely naive. I'm really proud of open source and AI right now. But I am definitely scared of what open source is doing in general. Because... we're definitely, and like you see, it's the same trend with jobs, right? It's the same trend we see with jobs where we're looking, we're tracking a lot more heavily where the money's going, and open source struggles when it doesn't have people paid to maintain. So there's all your Mariah hot takes. I need to find an editor who can condense those down into reels now because my rants are way too long. But those would make some great TikToks, I think. Great TikToks. And just so you know, I am not offended ever if you disagree with my rants and you want to come back. I inform my opinions based on conversations, and so everything that you reply does help kind of refine those things. I appreciate it. AI branded K8s being a thing is 100% a mess and something that shouldn't happen. My response to them saying that was, It's funny how in the again, and this is on the implementation side. This is on companies taking what is now AI and trying to put it back into their products. It's funny how what we're missing is just a little bit of quality engineering, right? We have a whole lot of tools that just replicate what other established software tools do, and we just need a little bit of engineering to just make good systems instead of getting new tools that build spaghetti systems. So, yeah. Pedro, you still alive? Should we check on you? We haven't. We've been reestablishing a connection. It doesn't need to be good, it just needs to be the first. Yeah, that's how you make money. Is by being the first. Oh, the raggy. That is, oh. That may be the truest take we have had in a long time. No. I 100% agree with that. I also don't think that in general, this is stuff I wrote on an airplane and I need to commit real quick. I agree with you. In general, people use Go because it allows them to be mediocre engineers and still get decent products. And that's the reason to use Go. No, you're definitely there. Straight and to the point. Oh, the other thing... Oh, gosh. Just use my local one. The other thing that I definitely... Pedro might be struggling. Oh, Pedro needs to be signed in. Pedro doesn't even know you posted that. Sorry, Talks. Pedro should be signed in now. So many people. The other thing that's informed a lot of my opinions of GopherCon is in the past month, I have run into so many people that said Go is my next programming language. That's why you're not doing Rust web development. No, Go web development's great because web dev is you can do high quality web development with mediocre code. I mean, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. That's just what I said. But yeah, I mean, just replace all your Rails apps with Go. And so if Go is what people's next language is, then they want, like, I'm a software engineer and I just want to learn Go because it'll pump up my resume, not because I'm doing this for... Because if they were, like, again, whatever we're defining high quality engineers would be, or it wouldn't be their next language, or low level engineers, or people building tools, like, it wouldn't be their next language, It would be something that they've already tried. Now, if people said Rust was my next language, I'd be like, yeah, it's mine too. That shit is daunting. Like, Rust scares me. But. So. Like. I wish Mojo, a lot of people, the only people who I've heard talking about Mojo are, ML people for sure. Because it seems to be more, not, just better, they're looking for something that's as easy as Python, but better than Python. But that can wrap Python. And so that's, I guess, that can use the same libraries or whatever. So that's what I hear mostly is from people in the ML space looking at Mojo. I don't hate Python. I just like to tease Python. What do I not have committed? Oh, good. It has an integration with PyTorch. That's awesome. Well, I mean, but that's why people still use Python for basic software stuff, right? Is because it's so fast for, you know, rapid engineering. And so, yeah, 100%. I agree. I'm not going to complain. Everything is less daunting than Rust. Except for maybe Zig. But that's just because of Zig's lack of documentation. Yeah, and that's the only reason why I haven't played with Mojo at all is because I don't have like a really good like, I don't know. I just haven't found a use case for it. Maybe I should. Oh, I believe you, Raggy. 100%. I know for a fact its reputation is worse than its practice because it's one of those things that I think once you get around that curve, right? Like once the learning curve is high, but once you get past that hump, you're home free, right? I mean, at least from watching people write it on Twitch, that's what I get. Like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Takes me a minute to figure out how to do this, and then I know how to do it forever, kind of a thing. Like, it's a which... Yeah, I say let's go. I don't know. I'm filling the hole for the need of Go content right now, and so I'll just make Go content. I don't... I'm sure that where I left off on this... a user can only be part of one org. I currently... My response. Oh, 3 minutes ago. This is perfect. I don't know the use case for more than one org. At this point in time, I am sure we should care about that. Cena, how you doing? Hello, hello. We're in ads. I'm sorry. Oh, well, it said there were ads. I've done really good with, like, learning Rust with Rustlings. Oh, I'm glad you're back. Pedro's there. What's my favorite thing to do? I don't know. I don't even remember what I hadn't committed yet button. This should be an enum. Yes, but... Should it be an enum in protobuf? Or should we just make it a freaking database check? I don't know. We'll just get back to that. Yes. We only care about that. I think part of the reason why I felt intimidated by Rust is I didn't have a good point of reference for entering into it. I've pretty much only done Python and Go. You would make it an enum and protobuf? Cool. I'm not really I guess the only point of this MR or PR at this point is to be able to import users from Meetup. That's it. Like, that's the only thing I'm going for. And so it probably shouldn't matter. Yeah, I don't have a good C or C++ or even Java background. I haven't done any TypeScript, so like coming from Go and Python, I just had no point of reference for Rust. And I think that was what got me stuck. Again, and then the other thing, I just didn't have a good project. Because I just build everything in Go, because what am I building that's not a web service? I know, it's my fault. I should build a real thing. Yeah, and it's good. Like, it's... And those are things... And everything, all of the stuff that Rust has that I don't have a point of for, you're calling them structural concepts, functional concepts, they're more complex type system, are all things that Rust should have. Like, the things I want Rust to have. Yeah, exactly. Even though I will avoid TypeScript like the plague just to prove a point. Okay, I'm gonna I'm sure I have some secrets living somewhere. Okay. The other thing you want to know, I had a big problem with at GopherCon. So you know how when I type, things tend to go to the bottom of the screen over here that just fills up? They had subtitles over the bottom of the screen. The same thing as if I just had this bar up in the way and you couldn't see. And so most people type like that. They're just looking at the bottom of the screen. So what they were actually doing was covered. And those poor speakers. The other thing that was really weird here is that they can call you P. Pedro's the weirdest thing. Okay. So, I know we don't do we do really bad with transcription at Go West. Like, really bad. We basically say, if you want it, look on YouTube. It's so bad. This is straight up why I have this. So, initialize is not running. Yeah, I mean, Our accessibility is not great. I could do a better job. I do have captions set up on my OBS, so I'm sure this year I could like straight up add them. But I would want them to be in a bar that's separate from the screen because I don't want it to cover anybody's talks. It said it couldn't run the migration, so it failed to set up. And I bet that I don't handle that error. I do. Why did... Okay, I guess it didn't throw an error. Is this one of those Mariah should have had an if not exist? Oh. Sorry. You want to know the other thing that came up? I was talking to about Go workspaces. We were debating what is a monolith. Not debating. But apparently this guy at Google who worked on workspaces. Doesn't know. Apparently lots of people that he's talked to who want to use workspaces have multiple Go mod files in a repo. And to him, that is not how monoliths work. Monoliths should have one Go mod file, and if they have multiple, that's not a monolith. That's microservices. And to me, having multiple Go mod files is the workaround for workspaces when workspaces didn't exist. Yeah, a Go mod file per deployment object, straight up. That is, yes. And he was like, that's not how you should do monoliths. If you have multiple Go mod files per deployment objects, workspaces will not work. And I was like, and it was just this strange dissonance between what people want and what they built. And I'm like, just wanted to scream at him, pivot and do what the users want, but I couldn't. Like, that's not my job. Yeah, but there was one Go mod per deployment object, essentially, in a lot of these companies' monoliths. And that makes sense to me because you could essentially keep your dependencies independent. Like, when I do it, I want one mod file per repo because it just makes my life easier. But if you were trying to maintain things in parallel, yeah, you... Microservice monoliths? Pedro, what is it? Ask Pedro what a microservice monolith is. Oh, we should just ask Pedro if we can have one. I'm gonna ask Pedro. Pedro, do monoliths have one go.mod file or many go.mod files? I asked Pedro. Yeah, because to me, I know exactly why you would do it. Because you didn't have workspaces and you wanted to do parallel deployments. Like, it gets messy. But, yeah, I also don't know how to make workspaces work with multiple Go mod files. You could do add column if not exists, right? Like that's... Can you do if not exists on alter statements? Yeah, I agree. To me, a monolith is just a single code base. Right? And, but people who have a monolith with Go in it are going to use third-party tools. And also, I guess, the other thing that they would want to do is, like, a single large deployment? A monorepo is a single code base. So you could have a monorepo and have it not be a monolith. I like that definition. Thank you, Carry On. That's what I thought. That's what I need to have. But that's what I'm saying. If you're just storing everything in a monorepo, and you're saying, great, well, we have teams working on individual parts of it, and then those teams are going to be in charge of their own dependencies. Like, I totally see the logic behind doing that. Like, I straight up do. And not only that, I'm sure that some security guys like, you need to give me a list of all of your dependencies, and they don't know how to do that without a GoSum file. Like, I get it. I don't see how workspaces, like, that seems like you're doing this and instead of workspaces, not for workspaces. You know? So there's that. Anyway, I couldn't solve his problem. Group ID is ambiguous. What do you mean group ID is ambiguous? We need to not log emails. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sure I just need to go update something now. I'm okay with that. We were talking about PII the other day, and I've decided that emails are too precious to log. I also don't see a need for workspaces, but I do have a section of my Go course that of a proposed Go course, not a current Go course, a proposed one about workspaces. So I at least need to know how to set them up. There we go. This should qualify it just fine. Oh, doesn't like it. Hey, but now I don't have any PII, right? Which period do they not like? No, this needs it. Let me just check the on conflicts Postgres garbage. Besides Tailscale, I don't think I've ever worked at a place that did any kind of monorepo, and Tailscale only had one go.mod. So I have no context for it, like practical context, but I see it. I totally understand why somebody would do that. I mean, Todd did. In his copier template, Todd has multiple go mod files, and I said, Todd, don't do that anymore. And he's like, yeah, I don't like it. Like, I tried it and I don't like it. And I said, good. You know. Postgres. On conflict. Yeah, I need to do that. I just, no, I will do that. Like, that's on my list of things to do. After all of these scripts are done. I think this is fine. I think this is the appropriate way to do it. Okay, perfect. And say, Mariah, but isn't first name PII? Yeah, but what are you gonna do with the first name? You can do a lot more with an email. Okay, Mr. Button. This is what I found out when trying to migrate this. About 50% of the people who are registered as members of Forge meetups do not have emails associated with their accounts. That means that they never knew we were starting meetups again post-COVID, because email notification is the foundation for meetup. So if you don't have an email, you're like kind of stuck. Like, email, like that. Email notifications is how meetup.com does notifications. That just straight up is it. I'm pretty sure that push notifications that they send are after emails. Why is Todd Hansman a admin of Front End Craftsman? Why is Casey Tyler an admin of Zig Utah? Yes, I am, and I am also not. I'm just logging admins. Oh, I know why. I know why. It doesn't select admin per meetup groups. It's just doing all of them. Tech Mondays. So basically, if you're an admin for one, you're an admin for all, and that's going to be a problem. And that's why I'm just logging it, because I thought that would happen. Who is Fernando Rodriguez? Is he a former admin? Here's the thing, though. I think a bunch of these people who don't have emails in Meetup do have emails in Forge Slack. So we somehow... Oh, Clint has a way to export them. But we're gonna need to, Ow. Sorry, I hurt my hip. And it just... Sometimes I just pinch the nerve up there. We need a way of consolidating... These. Yes. Doing a merge between Meetup and Slack. I think long term that's what we need. But the only way we can do... Would we do it on... name? Like, that's the only thing I could think of, and... You know. If they don't have an email... I'm not adding them, so... you know, so I guess... All of these no emails are not being added to the database. Because how would we let... Like, they wouldn't... It would have no value. So we would just need to... do an insert. Like, we would just need to pull them from Slack and add them if they're not already there. And then I need, clearly, the other thing I need to do is fix this admin thing, because admins are not working. On import, at least. Have you seen your name yet? You should be popping up as an admin because, you were in charge of K8s once. No, we're still on Utah Data Engineering. There's only like 8,000 people here, and we're only logging the ones that don't have emails. Isn't that pretty pathetic? That's what I'm saying. If Meetup.com's whole platform is based on the existence of email reminders, then they're doing us a huge disservice by not having emails. Like, it's no wonder people don't come to meetups. Oh, there probably is. I'm planning on dropping this a few more times. We should check that terms of use to see if this is even... Well, Clint's like... Clint wanted to use this as like a migration tool. But like, to be fair... All of these people without emails aren't coming to meetups. But, like, they're not... Yeah. I agree. You bring up a very practical use case. But the admin thing doesn't even work. But after this runs, I just want to see... I want to count up first how many users there are. Like, I want to know... Of the... we got about 12,000 total. Of the 12,000 total... how many would we be able to migrate, right? Theoretically. Ben Castleton's not a user. He's speaking next month. Oh, Bill. We're still on data engineering. We've got so many people in data engineering. Yeah, so I want to see how many people I could potentially migrate. And then... Oh, now we're in MLOps. MLOps community is part of the data engineering meetup. That's great. I cannot believe how many people Joe had following his meetup. They're all of Joe's friends. Well, I don't know. Why would Meetup allow us to pull use like, because this isn't a, like, I'm calling this a public API. You can only query this. Pedro never told us what it thought a monolith was, huh? It must have crashed. I see what you're saying, and I think I agree. I think we can just add admins and append groups. That's fine. Because those are the people that have already committed their soul to us. Pedro, what is the difference between a monolith and a monorepo? So what's also funny is people who no longer are admins or organizers, people who, according to Meetup system, no longer have rights, are still considered by the API to be organizers. That's hilarious. A compromise could be having a partial account and emailing the user once. 100%. It would be much smarter to email them from Meetup's platform. Like, I'm not saying it makes sense at all, because it doesn't. Oh, it took too long to add all of these people. So after talking to you guys, I agree that migrating users may be stupid.
Oh my God! Subscriber hype.
Thanks for that sub button. Got tired of ads? What did Pedro say? Pedro said, a monolith is a single application that contains all of the code and data for an entire project. And data, it's not a database. It's usually very large and complex. Monorepo, oh, sorry. A monolith would have all of the data. Yes, sorry, that is correct. Pedro's not wrong yet. A monorepo is a repository that contains many different projects. Each has its own code base and data. Monorepos are typically much smaller than monoliths because they do not contain as much code or data. Yeah, that sub was definitely like a rage to ads. So this thing right here, this is why I was trying to add metrics, which I failed at doing because I didn't fix my Prometheus. I want to host my own Prometheus, just to say I did. You have high-paying tech jobs, so you don't have to deal with ads? Yes. When sometimes... I'm just pretty sure this is just a straight-up timeout. So we need to figure out how many times this happens and it doesn't post. Because I don't think... Because sometimes it posts here, and then instead of posting, it just cycles. So we don't get the response in chat. It gets it in the database. It's stored in the database. It's just not stored in chat. It's just not sent to chat because it cycles the IRC connection. And I'm hoping to get some insight into that. But Prometheus seemed like too much of a headache for today. I would much rather deal with the probability of sending people garbage emails? Well, I mean, we could just do what Clint did and sign up all these people for a newsletter. Clint did that with Forge Slack. He just sent a newsletter to everybody that had ever registered for our Slack. And to be fair, sorry, we need to go. Apparently I signed in with GitHub for this one. I just want to count how many users are there. So where's my SQL shell? Select. Oh. Count. This is also not the permanent database home. This is just the temporary database home. So I'm just using this to persist for now. Because I don't want to host my own Postgres. We're going to host this on Forge Cloud when Forge Cloud is a thing. Clint's working on it. And by Clint working on it, I don't know what that means. But when Forge Cloud is a thing, that's where the database will actually live. So, I can, like, this is just all garbage. Oh. So, we migrated 508 people in the timeline. No. We're not trying to get a rack in a local data center. Clint's trying to, have a distributed Kubernetes cluster of hardware owned by Forge people. I don't know why. Clint can do what he wants. I mean, that could be it too. I don't know. He changes his mind every 5 seconds. I just know that that is a bad idea. Yes! I agree, it is a bad idea. What if... As a certified cloud security... You are. No, it's dumb. We were telling him it's, like, it doesn't make any sense. But... we have a problem. And that problem is... Forge doesn't have any money. I like how my shirt looks purple. It's GopherCon shirt, because we were doing our GopherCon rants. Forge doesn't have any money. So Clint said, and Clint doesn't want to bankroll it, and I don't blame him. So, if Forge had money, we would get a rack in a data center. Straight up. A local one. That's what we would do. Probably sign some deals saying we're a nonprofit. You know. But until then. Okay. What if... So, what if instead of... I have a new use case. And this use case is, first of all, I need to clearly change the timeout. Also, we should just have a counter that just counts the number of users that don't have emails. Instead of logging it, because that's breaking my mind. I don't understand compute like torrents. I don't understand that reference. Can you help me? You can't use services until you seed. There were some talks about that. That it would be, there would be some kind of a membership fee involved, which I'm not against. And that would probably pay mostly for whatever data center thing. The problem is there's too many caveats. Like, oh, if you do this for the community, you don't have to pay. Or you do that for the community, you don't have to pay. The problem is the only people that would use it are the people who volunteer for the community. And so now we're still back. Like, we need to be able to have a... if Forge just doesn't have any money, and that keeps coming back to bite us. No. That's not a thing. Hey, thanks, Button, for hanging out. We had fun. Are you in the Takai Project channel? If not, I'll add you. See ya. I'm probably gonna dip off here in about half an hour. Okay, yeah, cool. See ya. The publish is what I need. Thank you. Thank you. So instead of here... and it would just be add. Now I can just did a count. And where was the admin thing? Because that's the problem. The problem is where was admin? Yeah, so this is the problem, because a lot of these users aren't admins. Undefined XP bar. It didn't import XP bar. Is it all lowercase? Yeah, it is all lowercase. There we go. That should do it. No, my logs won't clog up as much. 10 minutes? Well, if it's not logging as much, it shouldn't take as long. And let's just count how many admins we have. Well, we all know that Clint is pro blockchain. He has a Raspberry Pi cluster, which is what we're gonna start with, essentially. And then we'll grow from there. Greg's already given us some hardware, so we have some hardware we are going to start with. But yeah. Where'd it go? I also need to... Oh, talks. I commissioned some Pedro things. Emotes. So we're gonna have some Pedro emotes. Isn't that gonna be fun? Okay, I think we should be able to get more in that same amount of time. So, right? Is there a way in Postgres to just delete all the rows in a table? Yes. I want to delete all rows. Yep. Yep, delete from users is what I want. 100%. We will... Pedro will get at some point, Pedro's going to get a table of, like, everything. So Pedro will get a table of emotes and a table of links and a table of... I've never used delete. Pedro also can't add anything. Make sure that delete works. Sweet. Let's run you. I just thought of... Yeah, I have the friend that does all the gophers for GopherCon. He's done all my Twitch emotes so far. And I got paid. Not from my work job, from my courses. And so I was like, I need to, you know, find some people to do. So now, I should be able to go over here. Oh, I am not running a server, so I doubt I'm gonna actually get anything with XP bar, huh? I mean, but I'm getting account posted somewhere, right? I think I missed that part. Does it have a... Usually you have to run a server. There's gotta be a default in here somewhere, right? Yeah, I gotta spin up a server or else it's just not gonna do anything. Well, let's just let it run and add things. Okay, I'm gonna let this run. I put a poll up for who should be raid. Take that poll while I am out, and just keep an eye on this query. The other day you built your own CA for AWS. It was a bit of help, but definitely having to pay for a private CA. I'm thinking of putting root certs on a floppy or something. Yes. Oh, that's the Max emote. We love Max. Yeah, the only time I really I haven't dealt too heavily with certificates. I have one for Cockroach, obviously. You can spam it in chat. I give you permission. I don't have a problem with having a chat that is too active. I'll never have to put it on slow mode, I promise, Pedro. $410. I forgot to set up the server. So I can't check how many, of the 410 we've entered, I promise you we've skipped like 700. Are we doing it, Pedro? Are we doing it? So it's supposed to run for 10 minutes. We've got 3 minutes left. Yeah, Pedro doesn't know what's going on. Non-codes wins. Obviously this pull from CSV is taking a long... I'm surprised it takes so long. We're gonna have to figure out... We got a lot of stuff. We can get into a lot of weeds with this. A lot of fun weeds. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and start the raid. And I will see you guys later. I have a meetup this week. I have 2 meetups. So we'll stream the meetups this week. And we'll be back next Friday. I'm working on a new Go course, and I have some things to do at the end of the month, so I probably won't be taking any extra streams, but you know, we'll be hanging out, and I'll be on the socials. I hope you get your tickets for Go West, and I hope you really enjoyed all of my hot takes from GopherCon. Like I said, it was a fantastic conference. Fantastic.
Possible unless you're running a huge site. Sometimes you have worse TOC, TOU issues if you check before presenting a form, and